Welcome to Keep Trucking Personal, where we invite you to explore the heart and soul of our company, Kivi Brothers Trucking. Through engaging storytelling, insightful market updates, and vibrant energy, our podcast reflects our culture, values, and achievements. Whether you're a team member or industry enthusiast, join us to build connections, foster growth, and inspire excellence. Discover why we're more than just a company. We're a community, a catalyst for positive change, and a home for those aspiring to be part of something extraordinary. The pre-trip is complete and engines ready. We're set to hit the road on the Keep Trucking Personal podcast. Let's go.
Welcome back to Keep Trucking Personal. My name is Tyler Kivi, and I'm your host. This podcast is truly focused on talking about the industry, talking about Kivi Brothers Trucking, and helping build strong truck drivers. That's it. It's very simple. And those are the things that I like to talk about. Those are the things that the company likes to talk about, is building up stronger truck drivers and building the industry to where we think it should be, because I'm kind of concerned with where it's headed, and I want to help facilitate ways to help it grow. So that's what keeps me motivated, and that's what keeps me excited. In the trucking industry, specifically at Kivi Brothers, the last 60 days have been monumental for us. We changed our operations focus from a more of an individual approach with a driver, manager, and drivers to a pod concept where there's multiple people, and in this case, 4 people taking care of a group of drivers. And we've also separated some of our customer service and sales team from the layered into the day-to-day operations. And I'm happy to say that in the 60 days, we have seen great growth, not only from our pods and the strengths and the numbers that we're starting to produce. We're seeing a lot more pre-plan. And by pre-plan, I'm not just saying the day of or the morning before. I'm starting to see loads and plans put together for the whole week. And it's exciting when you get to that, because as a driver, you know your plan, you know what's coming, you know where you're headed, you know what kind of money you're going to make, and it helps motivate you. And as an operations team, we're taking care of our customers with on-time pickups and plans, and they like to know when their freight's going to deliver, and we're able to communicate all that ahead of time. So we've seen growth on the pod side with the drivers and having multiple people to talk to, and we've seen growth on our customer side, and that's because we've been able to give the attention that we want. We've taken Keep Trucking Personal and put it everywhere in our company, not just on the driver, manager, planner interactions. This is everywhere. So excited to see that this concept does have legs and it does hold true in an industry that is so, it's growing with technology, and that technology might strip away some of this relationship building that we are trying to bring back into this industry. So very excited to announce that, in 60 days, we've had our bumps, we've had our bruises. Change is never easy, but we are seeing the benefit. And I'm excited to see what the spring and summer brings as we continue to cement in these processes and we improve and find new ways to communicate and continue to find ways to benefit the driver, that we all win. Because there's 2 positions in this company, and there's 2 positions in any trucking company, and that's either your driver or your driver support. It's as simple as that. So everybody's excited to see it continue to grow. The concept that I want to talk about today, though, is a little bit in your face. It's a little bit in your business, and it's called watch your tongue. And I see this play out so much in this industry. And really, it doesn't matter if you're a driver, you're in the office, or you're in any industry, this has impact. And so the focus is your tongue, right? And let's just talk about what your tongue literally is. It's a muscle that never tires. Think about it. You can be out tarping a load. You can be out chaining a load. It can be a hot day. It can be a cold day. It can be windy, whatever it is, and your body tires. You can be underneath a bench press doing multiple reps, and your body tires. You need to rest. You can go for a slight jog or a hard run, and at the end of that, your body is tired and needs rest. Now, your tongue is different. Your tongue is a muscle that seems to never tire. It seems to never get worn out, and it seems like there's always something to say. Now, keep that in mind. Think about your own concept in, the literal effect of your tongue. It doesn't wear out. You can continue to talk. You can continue to say things, and you don't realize how powerful your words are. Now, that is good, and that has its downside when the things we might be saying are hurtful. and we continue to say them, and we continue to say negative things. But it's also very helpful when those words that are coming are motivating, they're inspiring, and they're helping build people up. So just think about that and how important that is in the literal aspect of a muscle and how it never tires. It's very interesting. But when you think of the words that you have to say and what you're continuing to say in this industry, and we see it play out, and I'll have some in my own examples, but we see it play out in the interactions between the driver and the driver manager. And I think this is industry wide. There's always a stigma that they don't understand, they don't listen to me. And although that is true, I think many of the people in the office at any company, including our own, have never driven a semi. That's just how it is. If they had a Class A, they would be out driving a semi, and that's okay. We can accept that. We don't have to take that as a challenge. It's actually a benefit because these people are learning from the drivers, and they're there to learn. And the same for the drivers. You can educate your driver manager, your planner, really anyone, including myself. Like, you can continue to educate me with the way of the road and how things are changing. But we have to remember the impact of our words, and it's not just about being heard. It's about how we make others feel. So when you're speaking to a fellow, driver, dispatcher, like I said, there's many words in this industry. How you communicate shapes the relationship. So the impact, how long and how impactful is what you say, and how long does it last, and how long does it hurt? Let's think about it as social currency. What we put out into the world is our currency, and how much we're putting in and how much we're taking and how much impact it can have. And are you the type of person that's putting something out there on social media, maybe negative about somebody else? Are you saying things about somebody behind their back? Or maybe you've been caught saying something behind someone's back. And we all know that feeling. Everyone's guilty of having that gossip and having committed that, and how it feels, and how you can have that influence in someone's life that you didn't mean to, but they don't forget it. It ripples through them like throwing a rock into water, and the little waves continue to ripple and ripple, ripple. It continues. It doesn't go away. You can't take it back. What's been done is done. And that's the concept of how powerful our tongue is. Think about the impact of your harsh words, how they affect someone's morale, their motivation. It can feel like a punch, like you're getting punched in the gut, and it doesn't go away. And I think it's different for a truck driver than it is many other industries, because as a truck driver, you have a lot of time to think. Your job consists of putting miles down and driving. And when you're doing that, whether you have the radio on or you're not listening to anything, you're focusing on the road, and then you're thinking. And it's just like a fire being started. It starts out small. You put little pieces of kindling on it, and you get it to smolder, you get it to burn. And as the flames continue to grow, you add logs, and pretty soon you have a blazing fire. That's how impactful words are on other people. It starts small and it grows and it grows. In a specific case of a driver, they really get to think on it, and it continues to grow, and then that has impact that is everlasting, and it's fuel. So you have to think about your reputation when you're speaking. And like Warren Buffett said, it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. I take that into consideration for everything I do, not just because of my position at the company or what I think of how impactful the words you say and what they can do. And if I'm going to try to build a strong, everlasting company, I'm going to try to build strong, everlasting relationships with my wife, my kids, my cousins, my brothers, my nieces, and my nephews. The list goes on and on. I have to understand that all that I can work my whole life to build, and in 5 minutes I can ruin it. I can ruin it in a few choice words. Now, I don't ever want to do that. I've been in situations where I've done that, and it did not make me feel good. So as a driver, how does that play into your role when you communicate with office staff? As an office staff, how does that play in when you communicate to the drivers? If what you're saying has an everlasting impact, and the relationship you're building can be torn down in 5 minutes, 5 words, how does that play into what we say? Should we slow down and consider what we're saying and think about it before we just blurt out what it is? And it does. There's a time when I was on the phone. It's not as impactful as or demeaning to someone, but I was on the phone and I was booking a load, and I was talking to Derek, who was sitting just right on the other side of the wall, but we were laughing, and I wasn't focused on the phone, and I had swore talking to him, and I tried to cover the phone, and I didn't do it appropriately, and the person who I was speaking to thought I swore at them, and it set her off, and I couldn't take it back. I was like baffled because I I don't know why I said what I said. I don't know why I didn't just focus on the situation at hand. And this wasn't even like an argument. This is just something that I threw this person off context, and I couldn't get it back. It didn't work out for me in the situation. I was unprofessional. She had many questions to ask me, like why I said what I said, and I couldn't take it back. And I still never forgot about it. And this wasn't even a situation where I hope I didn't ruin her day. I think it was just transactional. But think about what can happen and how lasting those are with anyone. And I didn't forget about it. Driver doesn't forget about it. The dispatcher or driver manager does not forget about it if you blow your top and give them it all. It does not last longer than when you say it. The effect lasts forever. It's there and people don't forget. I don't know how many times, countless times I've heard a driver manager get off the phone or, hey, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to hang up now because this isn't a productive conversation. And those conversations don't go away. You remember that. And you can only forgive or, apologize so much before it starts to become routine. And that's not what we want. So remember, focus on filling someone's cup, not taking away from it. Focus on what you say. Is it motivating or is it detracting? Are you trying to build somebody up or are you taking away from it? The relationships last, but they can be torn down very fast. So think before you speak. Choose kindness over criticism. Be aware of the power of silence. Sometimes saying nothing or saying something harsh, they both can have impact, but remember, what you say can hurt that person and can stick with them forever. And Abraham Lincoln, quote, better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to speak out and remove all doubt. Remember, listening more than speaking creates trust. Put yourself in other people's shoes. Think about what they're going through. Try to help be in the same boat so that you can help build that person up and watch what you say. I think sometimes we have to really focus on connecting before we correct. Connecting before we correct. So before you get on this call, before you go toe-to-toe with somebody over something, let's focus on connecting before we correct and stop yelling. And this doesn't matter if it's home, business, pleasure. Stop yelling. Focus on what you're going to say before you say it. And it's so impactful, and it's such an impactful thing to consider in every interaction you have, because what you say can't be taken back. And I think we forget that, and some people might not care. Some people can put things on social media, like I said, social currency. They're throwing this, they're spewing it, it's going all over the place, and they're not putting it on a filter. They're not thinking about what they say, and it has a long-lasting effect. So as we wrap up, remember the tongue is a powerful muscle, one that doesn't tire, it doesn't rest. It's always working, it's shaping relationships. What you say is creating ripples that might last longer than what you intended. So just like trucks we drive, the words we speak have lasting power. Let's use them carefully and responsibly. Thank you for listening to Keep Trucking Personal. If you found today's episode meaningful, please be sure to share with others, subscribe, send me an email, anything that you want to hear in the future. But until then, keep your words in check, lead with kindness, and keep trucking personal.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Keep Trucking Personal. We appreciate you taking the time to explore the heart and soul of Kivi Brothers Trucking with us. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review to let us know your thoughts. Tune in next time as we continue our journey together, diving deeper into what makes us a community, a catalyst for positive change, and a home for those who aspire to be part of something truly extraordinary. Until then, keep trucking, and we'll catch you on the next episode.